we're going to see. Because I am going to be sharpening and I'm going to have to set up the gooseneck. So we are going to try, this is ambitious with a screwed up shoulder and nerve damage all down my arm. But it feels pretty good today. And I need to do this anyway. We're going to be sharpening a couple knives. This is this U.S. Space Force K-bar. Baby blue and gray. This is, let me set this here, chat filter, all messages. There we go. But I've got this over here so that I can see the chat on a separate device. It's plugged in, and we're gonna, let's see here, back to that. And get that brightness turned up so I can read it. So at any rate, we are gonna sharpen this. The reason we're sharpening this is my little buddy Nico let me borrow this. This is his. He got this from somebody. This is that US Space Force K-bar, but out of character for K-bar, this is the dullest K-bar I've ever gotten. Like, it's not sharp at all. I'm not at all concerned about cutting myself with this. I mean, it's sharp enough it would cut you, but you'd have to try kind of hard at it. So we're going to sharpen this one, start to finish. We're only going to take it to about 1,000 grit. That's all it needs for this style knife. But we also have got, now if you guys remember, I did a video the other day. This is one of those Life Support System LS1 Commando movie knives. We're going to sharpen this as well because this is my buddy Tino's. He got 2 of these. He got one for me, one for him. And his is not very sharp at all. I would never use mine, but I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to take this one and use it. He actually has 2 of these because this one was a mistake. The guy made it in the wrong steel. So we're going to do that. I'm going to wait until we get a few more people here, and I do have to set up the gooseneck, but we're going to be using my diamond plate for reprofiling, the stone that Aiden gave me, which is a 400 grit ceramic, or I'm sorry, 400 grit vitrified diamond. And I cannot believe there's only 2 people here. I can't believe this. This is some BS. And then this ceramic 1,000 grit stone. That's the plan. We're gonna go start to finish. We're gonna see how that pans out. I've got this up here where I can see the chat. Apparently there's only 2 people here. I don't know if I'm going to do this for 2 people. We'll see. We're going to wait till some more people show up. Because the fact is, if I'm going to destroy my shoulder, I'm not doing it for 2 people. And one of them's me. So that means Aiden and I are the only ones watching this right now. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the notifications went out slow. But like I said, so multiple stones. These are all done with water. I do have, I'm going to give you guys a little tip, some little tips. This is just regular water, but it has a tiny bit of baking soda in it. The reason being is unknown steel. I don't know what K-bar is using in these. It could be a higher carbon steel. I have had K-bars that have a tendency to get a little bit of rust on them. And this one is definitely a higher carbon tool steel that is going to probably rust a little bit. And so that's just one of those things that that happens with some of these steels. And so when you put some baking soda in the water, when you put some baking soda in the water, it just has a tendency to alleviate some of the rust issues. And so what'll happen is if you put the baking soda in the water, it prevents you getting that orange oxide start to form on your stones, which can be problematic because if you get rust on, especially like this is a steel plate with diamond on it, you're going to run into some issues. So we are going to do it from above. I am definitely going to try to keep up with some of the chat on this device. And so we'll see about that, you know. We'll see about that as we go. We'll see how bad it is. Typically, these K-bars are pretty hard, so that's why we're using a diamond. Like I said, we're going to reprofile all of this. and just do a full sharpening. So we're gonna do it. I'm gonna get it set up from above for you guys. I've got to get the gooseneck set up, and that's all bent out of shape because I was using it for a different purpose. I literally had it set up so I could have a second screen for something I was doing the other day for 2 angles, and it did not work out the way I wanted. If you guys have any questions while we're doing the sharpening, like I said, I'm gonna take the tripod you're currently in and repurpose that as another screen so that I can see the chat, but I'm gonna get this set up, and then there may be some issues with some of the audio getting goofy, and I did get the replacement. They sent me my replacement lavalier mic. Now I just have to send it back the one that was broken. So like I said, this is gonna allow us to get a heads top down. So you're gonna see it from above. Give me we're gonna get this set up. It might take a few minutes to get this completely set up the way I want it, to get this gooseneck. And there will be some shake to it because this gooseneck is, I mean, it's just it's a cable that is basically just allowing me to position that. And the reason I didn't have it set up is very obviously I'm gonna hit my head on it. And I am gonna have to take my hat off because I do this every time we do this. I wind up bashing my head into you guys. So you guys are gonna get banged around and things like that. So what's this, Big Hams? We're about to witness greatness. I don't know, this isn't a great knife. I'm very disappointed in this K-bar. They kind of went out of their way. Gooseneck, is that what they called you in the military? No, it's not what they called me. My nickname was Guns, G-U-N-Z. At any rate, not just because I was a big dude, but because I was a weapons guy my entire career. So we're going to sharpen this. Like I said, we're going to reprofile it. The shoulder's not doing better, but it feels good today. But that's because I'm on some new medicine, which is the other thing. If I sound out of sorts, I'm on some new medicine. It kind of makes, it's not that it makes me, it's not a narcotic, but it definitely makes me dizzy. And I'm like, wow, I can't think straight. So dog's out here with me. Typhoon, okay, what's your actual name? Because I know that you're a moderator, but I absolutely don't recognize that handle. And guys, if you're here, drop a like. It gets more people this way. So like I said, a little bit of baking soda in the water we're using. Oh, it's murky. What's up, murky? A little bit of baking soda in this to prevent rust, like I said, as a preventative thing. I'll talk about that when we get this set up here. So you guys are going to lose the audio for a minute, because I'm pretty sure, let me know if the audio at all changes. I've got to get this set so you guys are in here at the proper angle. You're right above the work surface. So audio is going to change because I have to move these cords. And the second I start messing around with these cords, I don't know why, but the second I start messing around with the cord, the power cord and everything, and moving the actual receiver, it just screws up the audio and it shakes the thing. So did the audio change? Now, the other thing too is, I left something over here. Did the audio change as I walked away? Let's see here. Why is there only 7 likes? So at any rate, we're going to move this off to the side here so that I can watch the chat while we do this, because I cannot see the screen on that phone. Why are there only 7 likes, 26 people? Double tap that screen. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So I can also see what you guys are seeing. And I can see that can come up that way a little bit. So let's see. Did it freeze? Did the connection freeze? Okay, so let's see where we're at here. Let me see here. What's the point, EDC? What's up, buddy? So, like I said, first step on this is we are going to be using this diamond stone. Now, I don't know how How's the live chat? Let's see here. Live chat. Let's show the chat. There we go. So it is smaller for you guys. For me, it shows up on the screen and it blocks. So let me know if you guys need me to relocate anything or any of that stuff. So, so we are currently 19 people, 24 people, something like that. I don't know, 24 people. We're going to have to reprofile this entire thing. I really like the look of that K-bar. I'm glad you are the only one present. Of the two of us, you're the only one. So don't need these. So let me get this other device turned so I can see the screen. What the hell happened here? There we go. All right. So when you're doing this, like I said, this is a coarse diamond plate, and I have the garage door open, so you guys may have some audio. So I don't know what the steel is on these. I don't know what steel K-bar uses on these. However, I do know that it's typically very hard, which is why we're going with diamond, and then our intermediate, and then our final stage. So this is our intermediate stone. This is a 400 grit vitrified diamond, and then a 1,000 grit ceramic. And we're gonna move those out of the way because I don't need them sitting up here. I just had them out to show you guys. I've modified this little plate here so that it'll sit and hold this. This is a holder that came with my Doll Strong stones. So using a little bit of baking soda in the water, for especially on a stone like this, where you're looking at something that is a steel plate with diamond. If you're dealing with, especially this, I know that this was rusty, so I know that this is going to rust. My buddy did a bunch of cleanup on this. This is there's a guy that makes these replicas, and he picked a different steel for this one. And so you want to prevent allowing any rust to form on your stone. Because when you form your stone, when you get rust on your stone, it can get in underneath, and then it can just ruin the diamond plate, especially if you're using these diamond plates. These ones that Aiden sent me are not an issue because this is actually an abrasive tape. We may switch to this one, but the problem is this one's a little thinner than this one, so it doesn't sit in the base. So the big thing that you have to remember is you want to maintain your angle. And so sometimes adjusting your stone so that you're at the right angle and making sure that you can get your stone all the way to the heel. And I'm just gonna do a couple passes and see what my angle looks like and see if I'm hitting what I want to hit. Now I can look at it and see, but I'm going to show you a trick. I need to get a towel anyway. Need to get a towel anyway to wipe these off with. So there's a trick. I'm going to dry this off real quick with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, just to make sure the moisture's gone. And we're going to go ahead and do something. We got to be careful. We don't want to leave too much of this on there. Little trick. I know I've showed you guys this before. Take a magic marker, put the tip of it on, cut into it so that you've got a black line running the full length of the edge. So now that edge, I don't know how well you guys can see it, it's no longer silver, it's black. And so that's going to give us a little guide and let us know if we've got all of that factory edge off. So you give that a little bit of time to dry, and it's going to allow you to have a visual, on site and see if that knife is you've actually removed the material you need to remove. And there's only 14 likes on this. If you would do me a favor, looks like there's 61 people here. Drop a like. So we'll let that dry, and we're going to go ahead and I've done this enough times I can pretty much gauge the angle, but you can see there's a low spot here, there's a low spot here. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove material on this until we get a consistent, even edge. The problem with factory edges is a lot of times they are not consistent. They really aren't. You can see here on this, you can see where it's hitting. I maintained that angle the whole way. I've done this for so many years. I can tell you I'm maintaining that angle the full length, but that just means this angle is a little bit off. So we're going to do a few passes here. Just, man, K-bars run their stuff so hard. I can just feel it almost skating on the diamond. But you can see we've removed a good bit of that. Now we're going to do a couple passes this way, just to set our angle so I can get a feel for what the angle is that I want to use. And you can see a couple little low spots here. This is more consistent here. Typically on knives, what happens is if there's a low spot here and here, there's going to be one mid blade on this side, and then these two ends are great. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I don't know if it has something to do with the machine that they use. And it just gets out of alignment. And so you've got a low spot here and here, and then on the other side, there's going to be a low spot here. I don't know why, but typically that's what I find. So I'm just going to keep removing material. Now, I don't need the guide. I can look at this and see areas that I've missed. I don't need the visual guide of the marker. I was just doing it for you guys so you can see that's typically like a step that people will use, and I recommend it for people that are just getting into sharpening. But it absolutely allows you to see what you are and are not missing. Now, I can tell the difference between the scratch pattern here, and what you want to do is you want to spend as much time as you need on the coarse stone. If you rush and move to the next stone up, you're going to spend a lot more time on that stone than you need to. Like there's a really bad low spot here, really bad one. Now, I might not get all of this out because the fact is this does not have, you can see I'm already hitting the stone. I might not be able to get all of that out. You know what I mean? But I can feel that I am forming a burr. And that's the next thing you want to feel for. Have I formed a burr? It's not a good burr. Here it's a good burr. Right there and right there. But there's a low spot here. Remember I told you there's a low spot there? Not the best of burr. So you want it to be good and consistent, and you want to form it both ways. I call it passing the burr. You pass it from side to side. And see, I can feel that the burr hasn't formed the way I want it to here because of that low spot. So I'm just going to have to continue removing material until I get that low spot out. But you got to go from side to side. So the burr on this, I've got this just about where I want it. I just need to remove a little bit more material back here at the back. And we can focus on that a little bit. Now, when I put in the title, you know, practicing the manly arts, this is something that people did for hundreds of years. They took care of their tools, they took care of their equipment, their hunting tools, their hunting equipment, their gear. And it's kind of become something that has become a thing of the past. Mike said he would love to sharpen all Rick. No, I would not. So yeah, this is still really low. I have burr. So I just finished on this side, right? I have a burr here, 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 no burr. All the way up here, right? Because as you can see, even though there's still a little low spot there, I've apexed that. But I've still got a really, really low spot. Right here, there's no burr. And I don't know, you guys might or might not be able to see it. I can visually see it with my own eyes. I can see the burr glinting, and there's just still a spot here where there's no burr. But still there's that low spot. So I don't have a burr at all here. I do here, you can actually hear it. You can't because I'm wearing a lavalier mic now. But the fact is, like I said, regardless of what you're doing, you have to pretty much work evenly from side to side, or regardless how hard you need to work on a specific area, you wind up with an inconsistent edge because you've put too much work on one side. So we have to do back and forth pretty much evenly. And this is a very coarse diamond plate. Now, the nice thing about this is I can do this without a fixtured system. And the reason I want to talk about this, a lot of people are like, oh, just get a fixtured system and you can sharpen anything. A lot of these larger knives, you can't do on a fixtured system. They're too small. And I need to put, not so you guys can see better, but for me, I need to move this a little bit forward. I'm too far back. My sharpening stones are too close to me. There we go. That's better. That's better. So yeah, I still have not formed a burr on that side yet. So we still are just trying to set the edge. And it's so sad that factory edges come so bad. I've had a few really good factory edges recently. This Spyderco came with a good factory edge, but a lot of times the factory edges just aren't great. But larger knives like this, I mean, when you start getting into bigger knives, like this or like that Work Tough Knives Grizzly, you can't really do these very well on a fixtured system because the travel of the thing gets you out of the way, and then you have to reposition the knife, and then there's a chance your angles are off. The best sharpening system you have is right here. These two right here, the feedback you get from the stone, the feel you get from it is not just enjoyable, it's much better and more consistent. You're gonna tell when you're doing something wrong if you do it this way. You're gonna definitely feel it. The stone is gonna tell you what's wrong, the steel is gonna tell you what's wrong. You can see right here, I don't know how well you can see it, that is a really low spot on that. Right there. So now you see I'm doing these small strokes like you would do on a fixtured system, but I can then do some sweeping strokes that bring all that back together. And we're starting to, right there, I've almost got it, but it's still really low right there. Like I said, worst edge I've ever had come on a K-bar. K-bars typically come very, very sharp. And I was like, you know, maybe it's because they made it for the Space Force. Like, do those guys really need a knife? Have you seen Nico Ortiz's Space Force guy that he does in his videos with the little mini hands and then the potato? Yeah, they don't need this. So it's a game of patience. God, it's still really low right there. Really, really low. Spacebar, I think that's what they were calling it. What's the point, EDC? Gotta drink some water. Only thing I drank yesterday was coffee. And I definitely suffered for it. I did not feel good when I got up this morning. I was like, I am so dehydrated. I've had like 3 of those. So there may be a point where I have to like, oh, hey, guess what? Guys, we have to disconnect the microphone from me so I can go make a toilet break. Yeah, it's still really low. I don't know who they had sharpening the knives at K-Bar that day, but he does not deserve a raise. That's starting to get sharp. Let's see, just still some more material to remove. I'm not doing that for the benefit of you guys. I'm trying to see it, but I need to put my reading glasses on to see the edge real good. Give me a second. Yeah, that is a very low area of that edge. You can still see black magic marker and factory edge. See it? Really, really low. That's just disappointing, K-Bar. You guys, oh, there's a low spot still at the tip too. Oh, okay. Well, still some work to put in on the tip of that too. Still there. That's why I did this one first. I figured this one was going to be the harder of the two. I figured this was going to be the one that needed the most work because it was so incredibly dull when it came to me. Wow, that is really low. That's a really low spot in there. So crack, Silver Star, if you need an intervention, I have a friend that's a substance abuse counselor. Sorry if I'm not talking, guys. I'm trying to listen. The knife is going to tell you when it's time to I got a Friday knife. Yeah, I got a Friday knife. That it's either that or that Monday morning, like I'm still hungover from watching the game knife. It's just that one low spot there. I've got the tip fixed. I've got the tip back down to where it needs to be. Just the tip, just for a second. But that low spot there is really bad. So when you pass the burr back and forth like this, so I'm gonna have to do this for a while because the fact is that that edge was so inconsistent that it may have gotten overheated because they spent too much time on that one spot. It looks as it's still a bad low spot right there. When you get that much of an inconsistency in an edge from side to side in one area, there's a good chance that there's a lot of heat in that area. So not only do I have to get the low spot out, I got to remove the material at the very apex that may have gotten overheated and caused inconsistencies in the heat treat, and then therefore that would be a weak spot in the edge. So like I said, back in the day, this is how you did this. You didn't use a fixture. You didn't use these powered systems that are meant to make everything easier. And to tell you the truth, I don't think they do as good an edge. Yeah, I'd love to see a fixture that'll handle a cold steel Trailmaster, Mark says. Yeah, or the Mark, are you the same Mark that has the Slayer that's here at my house that I still got to send to you? You couldn't do that knife on this on a fixtured system. The nice thing about fixtured systems is they're for some people that like are just too lazy to take the time to learn how to do it the right way. Which you got to admit, there's a lot of people out there, or you know. I just personally find them to be lazy. I don't think they give you the best edge. I don't think they give you the micro serrations going the direction of the cut like you get on a stone. I just find them to be mediocre at best. And this is not that hard of a skill to learn. It's just time consuming. It's not hard. It just takes a while. You can see here, look at that. We've got it almost down to where that edge is consistent, but there's still a really bad low spot right there. So And the other thing too is I can do a full convex. I don't know if you guys have noticed, as we're doing this, I'm starting to form my convex where I kind of roll that angle a little bit, right? I can kind of roll that angle a little bit and form a convex edge, which gives you a little bit more, it gives you a stronger edge, a little bit more stability in that edge. But you can't do that on a fixed system. The other thing you can't do is, my buddy Tino, I sharpen a bunch of knives for him. He's left-handed, and I established a left-hand bias for him, which means I change the angle from side to side ever so slightly, so that when he cuts with it, it addresses the cut, so it's at a slightly different angle, right or left, depending on how someone wants to use that knife. Kitchen knives are biased sometimes, things like that. You can see I've removed a lot of material from this knife quickly with that very, very coarse. So just a tiny little bit of that low spot left. I am going to need to wash the stone off soon. And there. No low spot left, but I still do need to remove a little bit more material off of this, just to account for material that may have been fatigued or overheated in that in that additional time that they spent or got extra pressure on that. So we're gonna pass that burr a few more times, and on a really coarse stone like this, it doesn't take very long. And so now that we're forming a really aggressive burr, I still have a little low spot at the very, very tip. So now we're going to spend some time focused on that tip to realign that angle, because I can feel that there's still a burr. There we go. Now we've passed that over. So that means that now we do have the same angle on both sides of the tip as well. No, you're a different Mark. Okay, because there's two Mark Burrises. One of them has a knife here. I need to reach out to him and get that knife sent to him. So now we'll do just a couple quick passes back and forth, just enough to form a burr. Because all we're doing right now are these full passes just to form a burr and then break it off on the other side, because like I said, we had that really low spot here where there's some extra heat induced, and I want to make sure that we're removing that enough. Now, we are going to another fairly aggressive stone right after this, so we don't have to do it as much, but I've done that a few times. And so the next step is, since I've made myself some little shims for that stone, look at how much material we've removed from that stone. Now, hang on just a second. I do have to go rinse this off. I don't want to leave that steel on that stone, because you will get some rust. You want to try and avoid, you want to eliminate getting, if you have plates like this, you want to eliminate the chance of the oxidation forming on that. And the other thing you want to do is wipe your blade off, because you want to try and avoid grit contamination. But now we've got the way the edge should have come. It's consistent from side to side. It is a very aggressive edge right now, which, I mean, you could probably get by with that edge if you wanted. I'm wishing Wishing I'd rinsed my hands better. I will tell you, baking soda in the water does make things a little bit more slippery. So now this is a 400 grit vitrified diamond stone that came from Aiden here, that's here in the chat with us. This is some country boy creativity right here. Country boy creativity. Made myself, was it cockeyed? It was a bit cattywampus from side to side. And you can see on these, you're going to have a thickening of your edge because the way that every K-bar I've ever sharpened, it gets thick and then it comes down and then it gets thick and then it comes down. There's a thick spot in the blade right there at where the belly starts compared to what your edge is from side to side. They always are. I don't like the way it looks aesthetically, but you know, it's the same angle. It just looks weird. So these vitrified diamonds are great. I really had never had one until Aiden sent me one. Just finally went to diamond stones from traditional wet. I still do use the traditional stones. I really do. I still do. Like the aluminum oxides, they just take longer, especially like I said, K-Bar runs their steel super, super hard. And so it just, the diamond's going to get you where you're going faster. Now we do have to kind of change the angle we're at. But this is a 400 grit vitrified diamond. This is going to refine our edge a little bit. So all I'm doing now is I don't really have to worry about reprofiling. I'm not reprofiling right now. All I'm doing is I'm just refining the scratch pattern that we put on it when we set the angle. That's why I recommend a very good coarse stone. It's a good coarse stone is going to save you so much time in the sharpening process because it's the one that does most of the work. But you can see how fast this is cutting. But it's not really that it's cutting so much material. It's taking, and I wanted to show you. Hopefully you guys can see it. So this is what the edge looks like. Hopefully you can see it. I can't tell because I don't have my reading glasses on. Let me see. And plus I'm at a weird angle from where you guys. So that's what the edge looks like on that stone, that 400 grit stone. This is what it looks like on that 200 grit stone. See how much more coarse that is? So it's not so much that we're removing so much more material. It might look like it. What we're doing is we're just taking this really coarse scratch pattern down to a finer pattern. Just a finer sawtooth on that. Holy crap, there's 212 people here. What is the benefit of using the plates wet? It prevents the load. So so the pores in these stones, whether it be these or not, they're going to load up. When you put a little bit of liquid on them, who was it that asked that? Elijah. So putting the water on it lubricates it, and it prevents the steel from loading the areas in between and stopping it from cutting. And so you can see when you fill those pores, it becomes finer and finer. If you want to use something like that. Now you can use oil on these diamond plates. I've heard you can use oil on these. Other stones like ceramics and things like that, or natural stones, water stones, you don't want to use oil. It'll basically break down the stone. It's a little bit of lubrication, and it prevents the stone from loading, and you losing your cutting capability. And plus, stuff like this, you don't want to use it dry, because if you use them dry, you'll actually damage the stone. You'll actually remove more of the stone than you want. And you shouldn't be using any pressure anyway. So if you're using it dry, you're just wearing out your stone faster. If you're pushing harder, if you're pushing at all, really, you're wearing out your stone. The stone's going to do the work. You don't need to add any. If you push on it, you're just wearing out your stone faster. And keeping the stone wet is an important part of it. And just listen to what the stone is telling you from the sound it makes. It's going to tell you if you got your angle off. I've talked about that in videos too. If you change your angle, the stone's going to let you know. You're going to hear it. The stone's going to make, this is water with baking soda in it. Just these, I prefer water stones. I don't like oil stones as much, mainly because water stones is easier to clean up. If you're using oil stones and you got all that work, you're getting oil all over everything, you got to have something to clean it up. With water, it's just basically water with stone and steel residue in it. It's a lot easier to clean up than trying to clean up an oil slick on your workbench. Now, as you go up in stones, you're going to find little areas like right here at the very tip of that. Can you see where there's a little glint? As you go up in stones in grit to a finer grit, you're going to see areas that the scratch pattern you put on is masking. And so there is a little low spot there. And so that's one of the things you want to look for. As you look down your edge, you look for areas that aren't consistent with the grit you're using. Now, this stone is aggressive enough. I don't need to go back down to the more aggressive stone. I can remove enough because I don't want to have to. I don't need to. I can pretty much rectify that right there on this stone, right? And the whole time you're doing this, you want to be feeling for burr and make sure you form the burr from side to side instead of, you don't want to miss any. So like you can feel that you've got a burr. And that's why doing this by hand is a much better way. I can feel that burr. I'm not putting my thumb on the edge. I'm putting it here and I'm rubbing the pad of my thumb down and I can feel that burr consistently. There's no areas where there's not a burr. So, oh yeah, even the choppers from K-Bar are hard. The one sound you don't want to hear, the building shutter, is pink. Pink! Yeah, the K-Bars do run their stuff too hard. I have seen numerous K-Bars break. Now I can hear when I've stripped that burr off and formed the new one. Okay. And this is why sharpening by hand is more efficient. I can tell when I formed that burr. And I'm not counting strokes. I'm just listening to when I hear that change. Which is important, especially when you get into the finer stones, like above 1,000 grit. You don't necessarily need to keep going and going and going. So now all I'm doing now, I got to grab my reading glasses again. Guys, I have like 3 pairs of reading glasses laying around this workbench area because I'm old and I, at this point in my life, can no longer see the edge up close. So I'm looking for is areas like we saw at the tip. I will leather strop it at the end. I'm looking for little areas up near the tip and things where we may have missed and not got that scratch pattern completely removed. And then we're going to do a couple more passes. And now that we're in the higher grit, at the 400 grit range, we are going to do a couple stropping passes after we finish this edge refinement. Just a couple. Oh, sorry guys, I hit the camera. I hit the camera. I do leather strop. I have several strops. I don't always just leather strop. I have some balsa wood strops and things like that. The stropping is a really good way to make sure you've removed the burr entirely. So I think we're ready to move on. This stone cuts so fast. It really does. It cuts faster than the more aggressive stone. It just doesn't remove as much material. if that makes sense. And you can see behind the edge on this, you can see I've removed enough material that I've removed some of the coating behind the edge. That's 100% normal. Hey mods, I do need you to, because I'm doing this differently. I need you to stay kind of like close on the no politics, no religion, nothing offensive, and keep it clean because I do have some of the younger folks that are in the audience. So I'm gonna go rinse this real quick, and then we're gonna move on to the next stone, which is a 1,000 grit ceramic. So 1,000 grit ceramic. And we can move both of these right now because, actually we'll move both these stones. We're gonna relocate a bunch of stuff because the next stone has its own stand. I don't need that. I don't need this right now. We can put that off to the side. We'll set it over here on the floor. So, so this is probably one of the best bang for your buck stones you're going to get. This is a Sharpening Pro. This is their orange medium. It's about 1,000 grit stone. These things are super good for the price. I have them. You can find them on Amazon if you use my Amazon store down below. But I am going to pause this for a second, guys. I'm going to disconnect because I have drunk a bunch of water and I need to go to the restroom. I will be right back. So you guys will still have audio, but you won't hear me tinkling. I'm coming. I'm not even breathing hard yet. There we go. Is the audio fine? Is the audio good? Are we back? So the, like I was saying, as you sharpen, you are going to remove material back. It is going to, especially on a coated knife like this, you're going to see where the angle has come back and it's hitting that. That's a completely normal thing. As you sharpen, that's going to continue to happen. These Sharpening stones are a ceramic, but they're more akin to the vitrified diamond. They are a porous stone. Now you can soak these if you need to. I soaked this for a few minutes before before we started, and so you only, these are kind of like a splash and go. You just put a few drops of water on it. But yeah, I can feel that I've still got a burr. Now, I did do some burr removal passes, but we're going to do some serious burr removal passes on this, and we're just refining this edge down again. And you can hear the difference between this stone and the last stone. Much finer abrasive. We've gone from 400 to 1,000. I probably should get an intermediate stone, but this stone cuts so well that I really don't think I need to. Now on these stones, because these stones do wear, the vitrified diamond doesn't wear anywhere near as much as the ceramics. You are going to want to use the most of your stone as you can. Now I'm listening to this because I'm not removing a lot of material. I'm listening for this stone to tell me when I've apexed it. You can see there's some little weird inconsistencies on here. We're going to work those out, but we are going to go side to side. And I'm not putting any pressure on this. I'm not trying to cut into the stone. But what I was saying is these stones will wear. And so what you want to do is you want to use as much of the stone as you can and be consistent. Don't just stay in the middle, or then you're going to wear out your stone. You do have to flatten these. And so these aren't going to wear anywhere near as fast as some of your aluminum oxide stones will, but they still will wear. And they still will dish, which means that it gets low in the middle. And so you're going to have to take the material off. To get that low spot out, you got to take material from both ends to clean that up. And so not using very much pressure or just the weight of the knife on the stone is going to really be important on these stones. And flipping your stone from side to side so that you're using both sides of the stone, because the other thing will happen is you wind up with a stone that's flat on, that is lower on one side than it is on the other. So and you can see, like I said, this stone cuts really fast as well. You can see how much material we've removed, but we really haven't removed that much material because it's super, super fine amount. Sorry guys. When I'm looking at the edge, I get really focused. So I grew up, here's the thing. I grew up hunting and stuff like this, and this is something that we did. There wasn't like a guy that we took our knives to. My dad was that guy. And then when I got older, I was that guy. When we butchered on the farm, the younger kids that weren't tall enough to be up or strong enough to be up at the actual butchery table and taking care of like breaking hip joints and things like that. Our job was to keep cutting. See, if you're cutting meat, knives get very, very dull. They get dull quick. And so the younger kids, that was our job, was to keep the knives sharp while the butchering was going on, whether we were butchering pigs, whether we were butchering cattle, whether we were butchering deer that we had shot. This was what we did. This was our jobs. And like I said, there'd be, all the men would be butchering and all the young boys would be sharpening knives. So this is a skill that really was important growing up on a farm, growing up hunting, growing up fishing and things like that. And so it just became a second nature thing. And it's a skill that like I cannot believe has died off so much. Like the fact that I was able to make a living doing this for people for a few years is just, it makes no sense to me. Like I was like, I can't believe this. That is a very sharp knife right now. This still does have a bit of a burr, but you can see compared to our last stone, right? Compared to our last stone, there's a much, much more refined, sorry guys, much, much more refined edge. Now there's still some inconsistencies in it, and I'm still gonna go back and forth a few times and pass that burr to make sure that we've got all of the fatigue steel from the previous stones out. But we're doing it a little bit differently. You see how we're doing long, consistent strokes? That's because we don't need to remove any material in a specific area any differently than we do anywhere else. And I still am slightly changing that angle back and forth and back and forth to form that convex edge. But we're at a point now where if I do a couple burr removal passes, let's see here, we'll just, a couple light little burr removal passes. Now, some people say you need to do the stropping stroke. You really don't. You don't have to. It doesn't matter. As long as you're just doing it back and forth and you're being consistent, we should be able to do an edge test real quick. Let me grab a piece of I had originally set this for noon, and I was like, oh crap, that's going to be too late. It's going to be like 3 o'clock by the time I get done with all this. So I'm going to do a quick edge test on this. Even before we strop, I should be able to, even before stropping on a leather strop, a little bit of a burr there. I can feel it. So even before stropping, we're already at paper. We're at newspaper cutting sharp. So I did get a new strop. This is a Hutzel's raw leather strop. It does not have any stropping compound on it, but we are going to use this one that's loaded with 1200 grit diamond real quick, just to make sure, I'm sorry, I'm not showing you guys, just to make sure that we've knocked the burr off. Now, there is something else you can do, and I forgot to mention it the last few times, and I don't think I have any here. Cork. Did I put them in here? Yeah, here they are. So if you want to do an intermediate strap, say you don't have a loaded strap, and you just want to make sure that you've got your burr completely stripped off, that there's none of the burr left, a cork from a bottle of wine. You just draw the knife through it. Just draw the knife through it, and it will catch that burr, and it will rip it off. And I have a little tub full of them. Absolutely one of those steps. Now, I will tell you, I have to go rinse the ceramic stone. You cannot leave any of the stuff on there on these ceramic stones, because what will happen is the stone will suck in the moisture, and then it gets bound in there. And you don't want to leave that sit, because this is a porous stone. It will absorb that moisture out of it. So now we've done, that's probably all wet now. We've done a couple stropping passes, so now, yeah, it's wet. Hear the difference that we've done? Now, the final thing I'm going to do is I am going to, on this raw leather, just do a couple passes to make sure that we've refined that edge up. Now there's a very little bit of abrasiveness that you will get from a leather strap. This is the suede side. You will get some silicates and stuff that form in the leather due to the tanning process that will do a little bit of, that act a little bit like an abrasive, but it's super, super fine, and they're not fine enough to at all adjust the grit of your edge. If you're using a loaded strap like that first one I showed, you can burnish that edge off. But if you're going to have a strap that's not loaded and it's going to be in a drawer with straps that are, keep it in its box. You don't want to get it on it. This thing is really, really sharp. Let's see here. Yep. That is a very sharp knife that absolutely was nigh it. This is the K-Bar, Michael Paladin. This is the K-Bar US Space Force knife. This thing came dull. This is the first K-Bar I've ever had that came ridiculously dull. I will say I do like the idea of the sheath being ambidextrous. It can go in this either way. So there's our first one. We're going to sharpen another knife. There is one more knife we are going to sharpen. I got to put this away and get out our other setup for our coarse, our intermediate, and the stand that it goes in. So we are going to be doing another knife. And this other knife is the one that is important to use the baking soda in the water. What it does is it changes the pH. It takes any acidic water and it neutralizes the pH so that your steel is not going to rust on the stone. Guys, I'm so thirsty. I woke up this morning, I was like, I did not drink any water. I was like, why do I feel like crap? I felt like I had a hangover this morning, and I definitely didn't drink because I can't drink on the new medication I'm on. And I had pretty much quit drinking anyway before that. I did get some beer and had a couple beers the other night. But yeah, pretty much quit drinking. And so, oh, I did not want that. I didn't want that to get all wet. So I'm trying to keep, this is a D2 blade, and I had it up here for another video, and I forgot to put it away before we started sharpening, and now everything's all wet. I should put all my little slip joints away. This knife is a really, really rust-prone tool steel. So the baking soda in the water is going to prevent the rust forming on my stones. Which, like I said, that's something you want to avoid at all costs. Taking care of your stuff is paramount. I'm just trying to see here. Oh yeah, it's going to work perfect. I didn't know if this was going to hit. So sometimes with this setup, depending on where the knife sits, if it's hitting too much, depending on the angle I'm sharpening at, I have to take this out and hold it in my hand. So pain meds drying you out? No, I just quit drinking because I got laid off and I don't have money. And I was like, well, what's the first thing that goes? Your hobbies. So you're not buying video games, you're not buying new knives, you're not buying anything that's not related to buying groceries and things like that. And even when I was working, the price of things went up to the point where I was like, holy shit. Like the wife and I went to Walmart the other day and she stopped at McDonald's and it was like $5 and something odd cents for French fries. All she wanted was French fries. Just fucking French fries from McDonald's. It was like it was almost $6. I was like, that's ridiculous. So I stopped drinking because it's expensive. So I got some Natty Light the other day though, which that's a pretty cheap beer. But all I drank yesterday was coffee. And I woke up and I'm like, holy crap, I'm hungover. I feel like I'm hungover. And it's 100% because I was just dehydrated because all I drank was coffee. Now, this is a custom reproduction of the knife from the movie Commando. There's a guy that makes these. My buddy Tino had him make them. He's probably going to have him the guy does replica movie knives, but he does high quality ones. These are great. This just was a mistake. He did it in the wrong steel. And so my buddy Tino has two of these. This is exactly like the one that I have. And so I told him I would sharpen it for him because he said that he's going to actually use this. He's going to like take this out and see. And I'm like, well, you're going to be very disappointed. So steel question for stainless steel. I would rather have LC 2000 VNX or MagnaCut. In a wet weather environment, I think I'd probably want MagnaCut, but I'm not a fan of MagnaCut. I would want to find something that was really stainless, but also had the grain structure that gives it a more aggressive edge. This is cutting very, very easily. This is super, super soft. These are meant to be wall hangers, which this doesn't surprise me. With it meant to be a wall hanger, I'm not surprised that this is just eating this steel up. So, we're going to see here. Now, I'm not doing the magic marker on this one because, like I said, I've sharpened enough. I don't need that. I can tell. And anybody that asks the angle, dive or wet environment, I don't know. I'm not a diver. There's a lot of really rust-resistant steels out there that I think are going to have more of the, that is very sharp. This is a pain for sharpening. Did Crane make, yes, all of the knives that Arnold Schwarzenegger and his team in that movie carried were done by Jack Crane. So my buddy Tino is thinking about he's testing it out, like to see how good this guy is at reproducing those knives. He's trying to test it out, and I think what his plan is just to have the guy to make one of every of the knives from Predator, or all of the Jack Crane knives from the movies. Not like trying to like duplicate all of Jack Crane's knives, but just the movie knives that Jack Crane made, because he's making he's making his own collection of movie knives. If you guys remember, Tino's the guy that we did the $60,000 knife collection video from his house. So what I don't like about MagnaCut, okay, so it's a very, very fine grain structure on the steel. And so therefore when you're cutting with it, it feels really slick. So the finer grain structure steels don't cut quite the way I want. And so therefore you have to give them a very aggressive edge. And I don't necessarily like that. I want something that cuts that aggressive, like a laser, but also has a finer scratch pattern, because then you get less friction and you get less chance of things getting stuck in the material, and it's more hygienic and things like that. The problem is that when you get those super fine grain structures on those steels, if you go above 1,000 grit, they just feel slick when you're cutting material. So I'm just not a fan of some of the more modern steels. They do have their place. I think MagnaCut would make an excellent straight razor steel because of the super fine grain, chisels and things like that. Oh, great. So the F-35 Joint Strike Fighters are now based down here in California, in Southern California, and they fly over my house constantly. So it's a low spot here and here. Wow, that is obnoxiously loud. Obnoxiously loud. Guys, so we're about an hour into it, which is typically where I like to remind you guys, none of these channels run for free. I bought all but this stone. Everything you see that I use, I bought. Channels don't run for free. I did set a goal for super chats. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying it would be great if you're enjoying the content and you can donate a little bit. That'd be great. If not, at least drop a like. There's only 40 some odd likes on this video. There's not even, like, there are 200 people here. If you're enjoying this, drop a like. That's free. This is a very awkward knife to sharpen. I don't like these rounded handles. Is that steel extra soft? Yeah, it's not great. The guy makes these, he doesn't make them they're not meant to be, like, used. They're meant to, like, hang on your wall. Just like the Rambo replica knives, they're meant to look cool, not to be something that you're actually using. But Tino wanted to see if this was functional. I mean, it's tool steel. It's getting sharp, but it's soft. I like so Van GB. Sometimes I like a steel that I can take way up in the grit, which is why I love 14C28N. And it's because its carbides continue to cut aggressively at any grit. And when you're using a knife, you definitely feel the difference between a polished edge going through material that's still aggressive versus a steel that is an edge that is still like under 1,000 grit. You feel that difference going through material. You get a cleaner cut with a finer edge if it's still aggressive. So I have a feeling that it's going to be terrible to deburr this, and I still have a really low spot in this area here. So I like being able to have the polished edge that glides through material easily and leaves a good finished cut and doesn't rip and tear through stuff, but still has that toothiness to it. 14C does that. S90V does. Rex 1, or not Rex 121, I'm sorry. ZDP 189 does that as well. I have no idea what steel this is. Like I said, this is a guy that just makes movie replica knife. Sorry, guys. This guy just makes movie replica knives. So this is a tool steel of some sort, like a higher carbon tool steel. So it wasn't really even ground to be used that well. I'm trying to do my best on it. So where are we at here? Double tap the screen. Still way less likes than there are viewers. All you gotta do is just double tap the screen. These rounded handles suck. It wants to roll in my hand, and even though I am trying to do a convex, it doesn't fit. And what I would typically do is get my thumb up here to stabilize that. But this is really, really sharp. Like uncomfortably sharp. Yeah, they're still on this side. I got to do a bunch of... So I'm focusing on one area, but I'm still bringing it in. On this, I don't think it's going to matter because it cuts so fast. Wow. Yeah, and so if Van B, yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Cutting flesh and things like that. If you're cutting meat, a coarser edge is good. But you can also, like I said, you can also get steels that are going to glide through that material a little bit easier. There's less friction, therefore the edge will last longer, but still have that aggressive bite to it. Like I said, 14C28 is a great steel for that. This is getting very sharp. Unfortunately, the edge grind is so very inconsistent. And Tino, if you're watching this while you work, I hate that I agreed to this. And I apologize. If the camera is shaking, I apologize. It's because you guys are attached to a bookshelf that is attached, like touching my workbench. There's just not enough room to keep them separated. So anytime I bump into Freedom at Mach 2, it definitely shakes. Holy crap, that is still really low right there. Can I see the whole knife? This is not the Rambo knife. This is the Jack Crane life support system from the movie Commando. Okay, a little bit more on this side. I'm using my finger on the blade. I'm not pushing. I'm not putting any pressure. All I'm doing is, remember I told you how this wants to roll? I'm using it to stabilize the angle a little bit better because even though I want to do a convex on it, I don't want it to like roll around. And so this is one of those times that like my buddy asked me to do something. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I'll do it in a live feed. And I'm like, I regret having agreed to take a movie replica knife and do it, but I can't complain because he also got me one. So I'm not going to complain too much because he got me one as a gift. So the guy that does these does really good work, but like I said, they're done in a fashion that's supposed to be just for a movie replica knife. What's up? That would be Tino right there that just came in and said, "What's up?" This thing's miserable. Tino, super low in that area right there. Tino, if you guys remember, is the guy that was here with a fillet knife that time, and I stuck it all the way through my hand. That's where the blade came out. Over here is where it went in, and I stuck it all the way through the meaty part of my hand. So, if you guys hear any background noise, the wife she works for the school district, and they are already on the break for the holidays. So what did I do with my blue rag? There it is. Figured it would be expected to, I mean, I don't mind doing stuff for you, bud. Tina's one of my best friends in the world. He lives just down the road from me. This is one of those like if we weren't good friends, this wouldn't have happened kind of things. I will tell you, Tino, oh, she's sharp. just a little inconsistent from side to side. And I'm having to remove a lot of material to account for the inconsistencies. Nice thing is it's shitty soft steel, so it's it's sharpening pretty easily. I think we're almost there. Give it a couple passes from side to side, and then we'll move on to that really good aluminum oxide stone, or vitrified diamond stone. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Having a hard time? If you're not using diamond stones on a work sharp, like if you're like, okay, one, I wouldn't on a work sharp tri-stone. I don't think you'd be able to do it. I don't think those are diamond. I got to fill this back up. Hang on a second, guys. I don't think that the tri-stone are diamonds, and if you're doing Maximet or Rex 121, you have to do diamond. There's just no way. It's going to chip. It's not going to be consistent. You have to use diamond stones for that. I could be wrong, but I mean, I'm not looking at the screen right now. I'm filling up my water bottle. Hello, dog. Hello, puppy. So I don't know. If they're not diamond, then you're not going to be able to do it. What was this? Tino said, oh, I know, very much appreciate that. I always just give you the most BS to deal with. Every now and then I'll throw you a simple touch-up. Yeah. So, guys, if you have not dropped a like, you need to. Only 50. There's almost 200 people here, and there's only 60 likes. Like, if you can't be troubled to drop a like on something you're watching and getting some entertainment from, then you should be drug out in the street and beat with a stick. And I did set a goal for super chats, and I see that I got 0. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that it is one of those things. I do have to go rinse this off, though. I have to go rinse this off because I do not want to leave that rust-prone steel on that. So I think my wife is getting ready to give Puppy a bath. She's currently drawing him a bath. I don't know. You might try it on the ceramic and see. Might try it on the ceramic and see. I don't know. I know people get upset when you mention the super chat thing, but like I said, that's how channels survive, because YouTube takes almost all of our revenue. And the fact is, my last 3 live feeds have made a combined $7. And being laid off and having this as the only income it's frustrating. So, oh, holy shit, Matt Martino, there you go. Well, you didn't have to do that. You were going to pay me for sharpening it anyway. Dickhead. I appreciate it, though. So, yeah, now we're moving to the 400 grit stone. And we're going to see. This should be fairly quick. Because this is a very soft steel. I don't know how well this is even going to stay sharp. We'll have to see. How have the Atoma stones? I like the Atoma stones. I don't use them as often as I used to. I use the, for my small diamond stones that I use for sharpening, I use the, so what he's talking about is I have some Atoma diamond stones that are side to side on this. They're double-sided, and I have some larger ones. I don't find myself using those as much as I use the Edge Pro diamond stones. The Edge Pro diamond stones are definitely better, but they're also more expensive. Would I sharpen a serrated edge? I have in the past. I don't like doing it because it's just really time consuming, so therefore it's expensive for me to do it when I was doing it for customers. But you gotta have the right stuff for it. And a lot of times they don't ever come out the way you want. A ceramic rod, a small, thin ceramic rod. Now this is a kitchen rod. It's way bigger than what you would get. A thinner one of these works really well for serrated. Please, guys, double tap the screen and drop a like. I mean, that's free. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to drop a super chat. I just want to see the likes go up, because then more people get sent to this channel. That's how the algorithm works. And if you're not dropping likes on some, if you've been watching a video for more than 30 seconds, not mine. I'm not talking even mine. I'm talking any video. I do this all the time. I say this. If you're watching somebody's content and you've watched it for more than 30 seconds, they've earned your like. Unless you just hate watching it because you don't like that person and you're just trying to see what they say. What do you do to unlike? You could leave. Because if you watch everything I do, if you say you hate me, bitch, you're still a fan. Okay, I think that edge looks pretty consistent now. Need to clean this up just a little bit. I like the fact that people that get banned from the channel, like people that get, I don't know if you guys know this. So if you get blocked from the channel, like in a live feed, you're not gonna see, but you're gonna see it. But like if you get banned from the channel and you're putting up comments and things like that, you're still like, you're stuck in the spectator seats. I have a couple photos. It used to be that like you would see that your comment was there, but no one else would see it. That was the fun one. Like you would ban, and they thought that they were commenting, but they weren't, and they were being rude to people. And I could see them, but none of those comments could be seen. So I have So I have some small. This is the cold steel pattern on this. So this one was for cold steel knives. I have another one, but typically the best bet, I broke one of these. This is one of the best bets. These are great because you can just get in the entire serration and clean it up. Problem with them, serrated edges are done really poorly, like all of them are. Just to put it in perspective, everybody was like, oh, you should like serrated knives. I was like, do you like Ginsu kitchen knives? They're like, no, they're trash. I'm like, there you go. Same thing. Samey same. Just on a more expensive knife. Serration, I don't like serrated edges. I'll show you. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I happen to have one that came in. You guys haven't seen the video about this yet. Yeah, it's a Spyderco medium ceramic. So these, if you look in here, now this is, I don't want you guys to get all excited. This is something special that's coming up on the channel. If you look at those serrations, do you see how like the in there is all screwed up and at different angles and things like that? They're just never good. Even companies that do serrations well don't do them well. They're stupid. They're stupid. Chat filter all messages. There we go. There we go. Well, I got one super chat. That's cool. We got one on the board. That was a good one too. Yeah, so this is ready to go on. I don't know. It's probably around 50 or 60. It's not super soft, but it is a carbon steel. What steel did this wind up that he made this out of, Tino? Because this was the one that was the accident. It's like my parents used to call my sister their 1060. It's on par with that. 1060. It's not horrible for that. Now I got to go rinse this off again, and I got to rinse everything this time because there's steel all over this. I will be right back. That knife is one you're going to see in a video. I don't want to talk about it right now. It's a throwback that Spyderco just released. Speaking of accidents, I said my sister. My parents used to refer to my sister as their little boo-boo, and apparently I was their gross mishap. they weren't expecting my sister. They were expecting me, and they were like, why did we go out of our way for this? This was not well thought out. So, yeah, she was their little boo-boo, and I was their gross mishap. What was that? Let me see. What knife is that? It's a replica life support system from the movie Commando. So it doesn't feel too bad. We're gonna see. The big indicator is going to be how well it deburrs on this ceramic stone. I know it's going to cut pretty quick, cut pretty easy, but it doesn't seem, you know, it's just a different steel. Like if I was to do like that old carbon steel kitchen knife of my father's on these stones, it would just feel super, super soft compared to the other stuff I've been sharpening, like S90V and stuff like that. You just have to temper your expectations on how long it's going to take. You just got to be careful. Yeah, it's not too soft. I don't think it's ever going to hold an edge like any of the stuff that you and that I made for you, like the stuff with the custom heat treats. But definitely, I was not a happy accident. I was an unfortunate turn of events. I asked my dad one time, I was like, Dad, am I adopted? He goes, no, boy, when you adopt, you get a fucking choice. What makes you think we would have picked you? And I asked him another time, I was like, you sure I'm not adopted? And he said, well, we had a family lined up, but they backed out once they saw you. So, my dad definitely was a lot of fun. You guys would have loved my dad. I wish we could have done a live feed with my father. That would have been fun to do a live feed with my father before he passed. You guys would have been in for a treat, and I would have been removed from YouTube. It would have been a way to go out, though, I'm telling you. That would have been a live feed for the ages. So if you guys don't know, I'm Tino there is talking about some knives I made for him. I made 3 knives for him. I made one in 20 CV at 65 Rockwell-ish. And then I made 2 knives for him in S125V, and they both were above 67 Rockwell. You can score glass. You can cut glass with them. They absolutely have been sharpened by me, but only because I wanted to do it. I sharpened one of them in a video for you guys recently, and it didn't need sharpened. I just wanted to see what that new diamond stone that we just put away would do. I wanted to see how well this would cut. And that knife was not dull, but it definitely got made dull just for that video. So I'm gonna go rinse the stone off. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, and then we're gonna strop this and see where we sit. And while I'm gone, the 100+ people here that have not dropped a like better drop a like, or I'm stopping by your house and I'm gonna take a shit on your front porch. Y'all had time. I already warned you. I've already got your addresses. I'm gonna go. It's gonna be ugly because I've been eating a lot of meat lately. I had a lot of roast beef and vegetables. Oh, you didn't? You didn't? Okay. Well, if you didn't drop a like, just expect me to drop something for you. I dropped something for you on your front porch. Now I can take this further up in grit. I have a lot of other stones we could do this on. I want to clean this up before I wind up with a rust stain on my filming station. Because you guys know this is the filming station. I just took the mat off of it. I'll come by your house and I'll put. Now what do I do? Let's get that before we have a gross mishap. I'll deal with that later. I am going to use this to remove the burr because it has been kind of problematic to remove the dirt. The burr is pretty much gone now, but I just did not want to have that burr. Oh, I see a bunch of you don't want poop on your front porch. I see. And I'm not going to use my good strop first. This is a strop. This is a sacrificial strop. This is done in balsa wood. I made this, and I can feel that there's still burr, but it's been loaded with 1200 grit ceramic or diamond, and so I don't want to scuff up and scar up my good diamond strops. So this is one that is for things like this, just the final burr removal. You can see there's a pretty pronounced burr on that. It is not wanting to. Was that? Hi, I just woke up and wanted to spend my birthday with y'all. Hey, well, happy birthday. Think twice about grenades. I'm going to take it over to Tino's house and drop it down the front of his pants like Tango and Cash style. Shut up! Get in the house! Go! 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 Sorry about that. The dog got loose from the wife. She's giving him a bath, and he came over here, and he looked like a drowned rat and tried to come in the garage. So yeah, we've got this. I'm going to give it, now that made sure we got rid of the nasty burr, and I'm not scuffing up my thing here. We're going to clip this, clean up on this strop. All the burr is gone. And then we'll do a sharpening test on this. Can you see the puppy? No, he's getting a bath. He's getting a bath over on the other side of the house. He just broke loose. He just broke loose from the wife. So this is my raw leather strop with no loading on it. I'm just doing this to just do a final refinement of the edge. A bare leather strop will give you a very nice finished edge after you get done. It does something to align that up a little bit more cleanly, especially on something softer like this. Still, let's grab a piece of cut material, test medium, San Diego Registrar's voter information pamphlet. Perfect material for this because it's basically phone book paper. And now, that is scary, Tino. That is a very, very sharp knife that was not before. So, I mean, I don't know how well it's going to hold up. It probably is going to hold up okay. I don't know why it wouldn't. I mean, it's not a horrible garbage steel like some other knives. I mean, yes, it's a replica, and I'm gonna bring you guys back down, and we'll do some final just like talking and everything. But we're gonna get this put back in the sheath, and we're gonna send this back to my buddy Tino. Now do the swedge, Tino. I'm gonna come to your house, Tino. I shortened this so when this came, the tab sat way up under here. And Tino's autism, it was going to drive him crazy, and I knew it, so I trimmed that back for him so that it's a little bit shorter. Does that look good there, Tino? And so somebody was asking about hair shaving, hair popping. They were like, oh, he does God level. So you guys can see, I need to put my reading glasses on and make sure here. Hey, guess what? Start your own channel. I didn't take anything you put down. I didn't take down anything you put down. But guess what? I did this time. My moderators did that. I have not touched the screen once. So I agree with freedom of speech. But guess what? This isn't a freedom of speech channel. You say things that interfere or interrupt people, you're in my house. Okay, so here we go. Let's see, let's find a spot that still has some hair. It's all here. Let me see. I think I found a spot that there wasn't enough hair. You know where there's some hair? It's under my watch band. That's what we can do. We'll get that area right there. See all that on my wrist? There we go. There we go. Yeah, there's hair everywhere now. Oh, I'm always careful. I'm always careful. Says the guy that admittedly said he stuck a knife through his hand that went in there and came out here. And that was the guy that gave me that I'm sharpening this knife for. It was his knife. Yeah, that's sharp. That is sharp. So I'm gonna get the stuff rearranged so that we can turn this around and have a little bit of a conversation for a few more minutes. Was Dan Hurd's fault. Yeah. So if you guys don't know, Dan Hurd Prospecting is a channel that my buddy Tino and I both like, and we were watching that while I was sharpening it, and I looked away from the screen just in time to see Dan Hurd doing something, and I stuck the knife that I was sharpening all the way through my hand. So we're gonna look here. I'm trying to get this tripod over here so that I can bring you guys back down. So I'm gonna put you guys in this thing here. So give me just a second, and we'll have some little questions if you guys got some like. Are you guys back? Are you guys back? Sorry, my daughter called just as I was doing that. Okay. My daughter called and it kicked my camera off. I apologize. I'm trying to get the audio back. Here we are. Here we go. Whew. There we go. Get that set right here. I'm gonna have to call her back in a minute. She is at campus. She had something going on. So, yeah, when you're doing sharpening, let's get this gooseneck out of the way here. How long was the blade? About that long. So, triple XL gloves from thumb to pinky. I don't know. It's about that big, something like that. Not a stretch. Like I can definitely reach farther. There you go. The owner of the knife is jumping in. So yeah, the softer steels didn't necessarily need the diamond. They definitely didn't. Let me get this light turned off here. Is that the one that's... The softer steel on that, you never cut myself? I just told you, I did a video where I jammed a knife all the way through my hand. Tino was here, we filmed the aftermath, and I got done and I finished sharpening his knives. Cutting yourself is just, if you freehand sharpen, you're gonna cut yourself. You mess with knives, you're gonna cut yourself. I have a YouTube channel where I've got over 3,000 videos of knives. I've cut myself with this knife 3 times. I cut myself with this knife the day I got it. You're gonna cut yourself. And it's just nothing to be afraid of. Like Tino can tell you, I've went to the emergency room several times, making knives and things like that. You just go. I'm gonna have to close that garage door. He's gonna continue trying to come over. Hang on a second. It's just one of those things that you're just gonna get used to. I also did martial arts. You're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hit in the face. The problem is a lot of people are scared. That's why fixtured systems happen. People are like, oh, it's a safer way to do it. But it's also why we moved away from straight razors. It was probably the best way to shave in the world because everybody thought it was safer to not use those. And we've definitely pussified ourselves quite a bit in this country. And it's sad. And these are one of those skills that's dying away. People are or just not doing it. They're like, oh, if my knife gets dull, I'll just buy a new knife. I'm like, well, that's stupid. It's expensive and it's stupid. So I was watching that live when it happened. It wasn't a live. I put the video up. You're talking about the time. Which one was it? I think you're talking about that one. That was on a live. So that, here, let me turn it around so you guys can see. That one right there was on a live. That was a pretty good one. That was a pretty good one. We also had the time I was making a knife, and it was in the drill press, and the clamp let go, and I spun a almost finished, pretty much sharp knife and had to have emergency surgery because I clipped a tendon. All those things happen. And I feel it's sad that people are afraid to get hurt. People are afraid to get hurt. Like I did mixed martial arts, and I did MMA, I did martial arts, I did boxing. And the fact is, like, if you're afraid to get hit in the face, getting hit in the face does a lot for you. One, it teaches you it doesn't suck that bad. I don't know if you've ever been punched in the face real hard. It doesn't suck that bad. Yeah, it hurts, but it's not fucking world ending. And getting knocked out doesn't hurt at all. It doesn't. You don't even know it happened till you wake up. That's what sucks, is waking up. If you've been knocked out, anybody that gets knocked out knows that getting knocked out doesn't hurt. Getting knocked out, you don't even feel it. You'll wake up and wish that you had made better choices and had your guard up better. Just flash a light. Did Taekwondo? Yeah, I got knocked out. I've had so many concussions. That's right. We were doing a finish knife with Nico and went right through the thumb. No, it was Tino. And I put the video up after. So we filmed after. And yeah, I did. I had an entry and exit. I went right through that roundhouse. Yeah, roundhouse will get you. Roundhouse kick will. Roundhouse kick will turn the lights off like that. Like flipping a switch. Boop. And then you wake up, you're like, where am I? So this is one of those skill sets that I wish people would get back to, because the fact is, if you've got a good set of stones, you can sharpen anything. I can sharpen axes, machete. I've done huge knives on tiny stones. And it's just one of those things, like, I want people to be able to do it. And I do enjoy getting paid to do it. Like, I love getting paid to sharpen knives. It's one of my favorite things. And I feel really good about my shoulder today. Part of the problem we found out, it's not just labral tear and bicep. I've been diagnosed with arthritis in conjunction with all the damage and the nerve damage. So now I have arthritis in that shoulder, and it fucking sucks. And I'm like, it's never hurt like this before. And the doctor was like, well, you've got arthritis. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, good luck. Get used to it. So you ever get knocked out and wonder, hey, who shit my pants? That reminds me of a joke. You gonna say, I want to hear a joke? A guy goes out to a bar. He gets really, really drunk. He throws up all over himself. And he's like, oh God, she's gonna be so upset. She said, if I got this drunk ever again, she's gonna leave me. And the bartender was like, I got you. You've been a good customer. You've been tipping well all night. He's like, check us out. And he puts a $10 bill in the guy's pocket. And he goes, when you get home, tell her the guy next to you threw up on your shirt and gave you the $10 to get your stuff dry cleaned. And he's like, that's brilliant. The guy gets home. She's like, oh, you threw up all over yourself. He's like, no, it wasn't me this time. The guy threw up on me, gave me the money. It's in the pocket of the shirt. And she's like, he gave you $10? And he's like, yeah. She's like, there's 20 in here. He's like, oh, that's right. He shit in my pants too. It's one of my favorite jokes. I didn't tell it well because medicine makes me all goofy. So guys, there's 110 of you here. There's only 82 likes. And I know that the 82 of you that are here are not the ones, or the 110 of you that are here are probably not the ones that did the 82 likes. So please drop a like. If you feel like dropping a super chat, that'd be great. But I'm not saying you have to. Likes are free. Like, I like most of you, except for assholes like that guy that I had to block. And people that come in and they throw a fit. I'm going to tell you guys right now. People that come in and they throw a fit about guidelines, and then my moderators are closing their comments. Those are the kind of people that are selfish, narcissistic assholes. That their opinion is the only one that matters. And so if you get blocked on a channel, There's 85 right now. If you get blocked on a channel and somebody puts you in timeout or something like that, that's not because they really give a fuck about what you're saying. It's the fact that they care about the other 100 at the time, 220 plus people that were in the chat. That's why we do that. It's not that I care so much about what you're saying. It's the fact that it may offend the other people. So don't be fucking selfish. And if you get put in timeout, then just get put in timeout and just accept it. Wear that badge of shame for the time and realize, hey, maybe I should have kept my mouth shut. It says no religion. No, religion is not okay. Religion's okay, you can have it. Religious and political opinions are like your penis. I don't care if you have one, just don't pull it out in public. Right? That's the big thing. Like everybody asks me, what's your political? I'm not telling you. You don't need to know. You spelled it wrong. Oh, I'll change it. It was one of those days when I did it, I was really, really tired. I was really tired when I did it. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm absolutely for free speech, 100%. But you're also in my garage. And I typically avoid topics. So no feet pics. No feet pics. I have to tell you, I have been messing around with the S90V on this. And I do believe that right now, this is the sharpest knife in my collection. And of course, I'm trying to cut on camera. This thing is ridiculous. And it's not so much this so sharp, it's just the angle. I changed the edge angle and everything on this. This thing has cut me, after I did that, this thing has cut me more times than any of the other knives. And I got to show you what you can do with this. This thing is, hang on, this is insane. I need a paper towel anyway. Oh, there's my other pair of reading glasses. I gotta clean up some shit that I spilled anyway. But, so this is a paper towel. I think it'll still do it. It's, oh, that's a rip. Let me see here. It's cutting paper towel. That's, no, put that away. I talked with the company. They are already working on these, I think. So we might not get the change in the choil. I'm okay with it. If they can't change, does this one do it? This is S90V as well. This is just barely doing it, but it's a different type of edge. I put a different type of edge on this knife. So this is the prototypes. This is one of the prototypes for my knife. Yeah, it's too fine of an edge on this one. Kunai that thing. No, that knife was a gift. So these are coming soon. I think they're already working on producing them. They did take my advice. They saw the video where I talked about removing the logo from here, and I think they are going to go with T8 hardware. They're going to try, but I don't know if we're going to be able to change the design on the first run. So the finger choil is a little bit larger than I thought it was going to be, but as I've had this prototype, I think that I'm not as conflicted about it as I was, because where I cut, I'm up here anyway. And then if you're really bearing down on it, you've got that, so you can really get into it if you want. I'm digging these prototypes. You're going to see this on Bobby DeMarco's channel, the white version. So it's white and black with the, I think it's just fine bead blast titanium. This one is the, let me turn it around for you so you can see a little bit better. Oh, guys, I figured something out. I have to adjust my light above the workbench a little bit. This is the fat carbon fiber, the Mars Valley fat carbon fiber. This is a beautiful, beautiful knife. And like I said, it is a full convex. Now, this edge is convex as well, and it marries right in. The only reason it looks different, because I do a convex edge, so it doesn't have a hard edge. It's not like that is a single angle. It looks different because it's more polished than the stone wash. Because I have been using this and I did have to sharpen it. But these should be coming soon. But what I was gonna say is I put the new TV up. And so the smaller TV was closer to the back. Yeah, convex. The smaller TV was thinner and it was closer to the back. The bigger TV, the 70-inch that's here, is thicker, and so the light is shining down, and I have a shadow across the back. So sometime this week, I'm going to get up on top of my workbench, and I'm going to move that light a little bit forward, and it's going to make the lighting for the videos a little bit better. Need that fine bite for paper towel cutting. Too fine and it goes slick. Yeah, this is right on the verge of being too thin for that. But this is going to be the Habu. And so these are really comfortable. I've been carrying this every day. What's this? Have you ever think about doing a series with that handle? You could put all sorts of different blades in. Well, the thing is, this is the Sea Snake, which is the small Wharncliffe version, fixed blade, is the same handle. I'm gonna see what they say, but the problem I have is that the Sea Snake is licensed with Artisan. This is gonna be through KATSU. I don't know, doing a folding version of it, I don't know how they would feel about it, but I've reached a point where I don't care. These cut so well, and the thing is, right there like that, in that grip, so good, so comfortable. In that pinch grip, ripped. So good. If it's slick, there's a good chance you burnish the edge. That's okay. So that's one of the things that so all of my strops are loaded. Talking about burnished edge. This is not loaded. This is just the leather as it came. This is my first choice. If I'm going through the stages of my knife feels like it's getting dull. That's why if I have a leather belt on, a lot of times my knife feels a little dull, I'm going to hit it on that. I'm going to try to touch it up on this that's not loaded. I'm going to give it a couple passes on the suede, the coarse side, and I'm going to do a few passes on this more fine side, and then I'm going to see how that edge feels. After that, then I'm going to step down to these loaded straps, because this is technically about 1200 grit, and then I don't know what this green one is that's for the ZDP 189. I don't know what the grit is on that. Depending on the stone. If that doesn't work, if my loaded straps don't work, then I'm going to try a ceramic hone, which is really, really fine, but it is abrasive enough. It can bring the edge back up. So I'm either going to use the rod or my ceramic plate. If those don't work, then I have to go back to the steps of sharpening. So do I own a butterfly knife? I do not. I do not own a butterfly knife. I have been carrying this again, though, in its belt sheath, which is my exogravity knife. Put that on my belt. So I don't need that. You know what I have? And I have to do a video about it. I keep forgetting to do a video about it. My buddy, Jesse, owns a company called Otter EDC. I definitely have ADHD, and if you were to come out in my studio while I'm editing videos, this is all you would hear. If you go to Otter EDC, check these out. Try Crazy Sharp, all one word, as a coupon code. See if that works. He's got a bunch of these different ones. He's also the guy that makes the gun stand that I have for pistols, for my pistols here on my workbench. Because I do have, like, there's one right here. So if you guys watched the video yesterday that I did, the live feed I did yesterday, I've got tens of thousands of dollars worth of knives in the garage, in the studio. If I'm here and the door is open, I'm packing, or it's within arm's reach. He also makes these, which are, I'll show you exactly what it is. It's dusty. It's a pistol stand with, he made mine special for me. Put the barrel, they're modular, otter arms. Otter arms, I don't know if you guys can see that. They're modular. So this one is the one for my 40 S&W, but he also, like, you can buy them in grips. You can also get so that they're mounted. That is dusty as shit. I need to clean that. And so you can just put these in and you can just swap out, and like you can barrel mount it, and then you have what he calls a sidecar, which is for your reload. And that just locks in, and then your firearm sits the barrel, and then you can pull it out and just grab it and go. Or if you want to do a display, you can mag mount them so that it goes in the mag well. You just tell him the make and model of the firearm, and he'll make these stands for you. Mine needs cleaned. Mine needs cleaned. But it gets, there's 9 times out of 10 over here off to the side. This one, or I have the barrel mount for my 45 as well. Yeah, I'm ex-military. I'm retired. So it's just a handy little thing. You just set it. I've got one on my bedstand that my pew pew sits in at night. So what's this? Steels that don't have a good heat treat will usually feel mushy on the stones. This felt a little soft on the stone, but that's because of the type of steel it is. It's gonna run a little soft. They are definitely that steel is definitely something that's a little bit softer. And we're gonna do this for a few more minutes, but I did promise my wife I was gonna take her to the commissary just down the road. Plus, I need a couple things. We got to fill up the car with gas, and I think I'm going to grab a sandwich on the way home. So, happy holidays. Everything's sharp. What's up? How are you? Happy holidays to you, too. I will keep you guys in the loop and let you guys know what's going on with the release date on these. I'm going to reach out to the company, KATSU Knives. By the way, if you like the KATSU Knife stuff, which this is going to be one of them, coupon code crazysharp will save you 10% on everything at KATSU Knives. If you're looking, they have some stuff on sales going on, like holiday sales. If you're looking for a really nice gift for a really nice knife, they have got some of the best knives that I've had come in a long time. What military base? I was stationed all over Japan. I was also stationed here in San Diego, but I mean, it wasn't so much that I was on different stations. I was on multiple ships, multiple vessels. I wound up here at Naval Expeditionary Combat Command, part of Mobile Expeditionary Security Forces and stuff like that. So that was like just all around. That last one, we fell under the Spec War umbrella. It was a newly formed unit. It was a lot of fun. My last few years, I was a sailor. I was a fleet of one. I was a dirt sailor, if you will. So you suggest for throwing knife, that question, yeah, my wife's Japanese. I speak fluent Japanese. I lived there for 13 years. I actually got paid linguist pay on my last 2 ships, or on my last ship, I mean. Last ship and my last shore duty, because I spoke Japanese, so I was, at any rate. Okay, so throwing knives, I'm not big into throwing knives. I never saw the sense in throwing away a perfectly good weapon, because if you miss, then you don't have it. I mean, so I never saw the sense in it, but throwing knives are some of them are fun. There's a handful. Adam Caladan, I believe is his name. That's who I would go ask. He's one of my subscribers. He's a world famous, world champion knife thrower. Hundreds of thousands. I think he's got 500,000 subscribers. He would be the person to ask. That's his whole channel. It was this, answer this, brother. What did baby corn say to the mama corn? I'm afraid to ask. I am afraid to ask. All right, what'd they say? Forgot to laugh. What'd he say? I'm waiting. Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I should have seen that coming. Yeah, throwing knives. Throwing knives has never been a thing I'm really into. I mean, I'd say that, but we did have tomahawk throwing, knife throwing competitions at the Frontier Days, and I did do it then, but they were all like, I mean, it was just for fun. Do I have a favorite band? I would have to say, hang on a second. If I had a favorite band, I would have to say it would be Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. That would be it. Like that like I think if I had to go back and think of what my favorite band would be, I'd have to say it'd probably be Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. But I know that I look like I should be wearing shit kickers and fucking only listening to country music. Likely way to find me in a parking lot is to look for the hillbilly that looks like he just left a Klan rally that's listening to Nelly way too loud. Because the likelihood is I'm probably not going to be listening to anything that looks like I took my iPod to work one day. We had a spot that you could put an iPod and listen to music, and I put my iPod on shuffle, and we were there, and the other guys in the office were like, "Whose iPod is that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's mine." And they're like, "I was like, what's wrong?" He's like, "That shit went from Willie Nelson to Eminem to Waylon Jennings to classical music to Rick Ross." They're like, "That's." I was like, I listen to all music, I'll listen to any music, even dubstep. I didn't think I was gonna like dubstep, and I was like, oh, this will be the one type of music I don't like, and I was listening to it. I was like, I don't hate this, I don't hate this. So I think a lot of it, like I grew up in the country, so yeah, I listen to country music. My father listened to country music. He listened to both kinds. He listened to all kinds of music, country and western, both of them. And some rock and roll and like 70s rock. And so my mom listened to a lot of 70s rock and things like that, like the Carpenters and things like that. But then I joined, I went to high school and I had friends that had cousins that lived in other parts of the country, and they would get tapes of music, and then I got exposed to rap and like Too Short, Miami Boys, all kinds of like the heavy bass fucking rap and shit like that. And we had the big like bazooka bass tubes in our cars. But I also then joined the military, and it's a really diverse community. Like everybody's like, oh, diversity, bitch, you ain't got shit on diversity. Join the military. Like no company has the diversity that the military has. I had guys that were from Indian backgrounds, Vietnamese backgrounds, all that stuff, and I got exposed to all of that. And it's a big cultural melt. Do you want a cultural melting pot? Join the fucking military. So at any rate, guys, I gotta see if the wife's ready. I gotta get these. I gotta get this mic. I can see on the battery level, this microphone's almost dead. I did not charge it after yesterday's live feed, so this microphone is almost dead, and it's gonna need charged soon. So I'm gonna get off of here. It's been fun. There was a lot of you guys here. If you didn't subscribe to the channel yet, the 76 of you that are currently watching, if you did not subscribe, drop a subscribe. I try to do these live feeds as often as I can right now while I'm laid off, while I'm not working. So feel free to subscribe. I see that there's a lot of people that did, but not as many as I would have expected or hoped. So at any rate, guys, there'll be a video going up tomorrow. I'm not sure what video it's going to be yet. I got to build the thumbnail and everything today, but tomorrow at noon, there will be a video going up. There will be a video goes up. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Yeah, video goes up tomorrow. There'll be a video that goes up Friday, and there'll be a video that goes up Sunday. I may, depending on what's going on, do a Saturday live feed. I do want to go eat breakfast with my daughter this weekend. One of the days this weekend, probably going to eat breakfast with my daughter. And I think there was something else on Saturday. I think Tino and I, the guy that talked me into Sharpening, I think we were talking about doing something this weekend as well. So, guys, that's it. Shoulder feels good today. feels good. It hasn't started hurting, so that means it probably will hurt like hell tomorrow from having done all of this. But like I said, now that we know it's arthritis, I know what I can take for it. So, guys, I'm out. I love y'all. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next video.